That is eros de she Christine Dilwoodian she tro heglin she. Greetings, my relatives, my people. I'm Mr. Foot Racer. I'm Water Flows Together Clan. Thank you for joining me today. This video is intended for teachers and students. And in today's subject, this video, we're going to talk about claim evidence reasoning. We're going to talk about what is a claim, what is some evidence, what are the types of evidence we can give, qualitative, quantitative data, and then tying everything in back into the reasoning, explaining. So without further ado, let me share my screen with you. Okay, so one of the things that I really enjoy is on Facebook, there's a channel called Janeh News, Janeh 00 News, and it's kind of a Navajo meme humor. I followed it for some years, and anyways, there's a caricature. He's a Bigfoot called Emerson, who lives on the Navajo reservation, and he even ran for Navajo Nation president in make-believe stuff. So I thought he'd be a fun character to analyze claim evidence reasoning. Let's get started. So first off is, what is claim evidence reasoning? A claim is a conclusion or statement that answers a specific question. What can you conclude? Was the hypothesis proven correct or incorrect? And as a scientist, I can tell you that my claims have not always come out to be true. And it's through that scientific process of having a hypothesis and then testing and doing research, data collection, that sometimes we go back and might make another conclusion. And as we know, how real scientists operate is sometimes you might have the data in front of you, and then you might make a hypothesis. So it's very fluid. The pieces of the scientific method that you learn are moving, and they sometimes are cycles. You'll go over and over again until you figure out the right claim, or that you prove it and exhaust all your resources. Evidence is simply data that supports your claim, and that can look like charts, tables, graphs, observations, what facts led you to make the claim. Evidence has two types. There could be qualitative data, quantitative data. It just depends on the researcher, the style they've taken, and where their questions lie. So all designing the experiment. All right, and then the last is the reasoning. So this is the explanation, taking your evidence and connecting it back to your claim. How does your evidence support your claim? Claim evidence reasoning also includes an explanation of the scientific concepts that are relevant to the claim. Why is this evidence important? Why do the facts support the statement, etc.? So here we have our beloved Emerson. He's out at a chapter house getting his vaccination. What a wonderful Navajo citizen he is. And maybe my claim could be Emerson from Janeh 00 News is Native American. And next would be supporting my claim. Emerson wears Navajo jewelry. He wears a headband and he lives on the Navajo Nation. Here he's pictured out in Shiprock, and he has his voting card. He says, vote for Emerson. So those are my evidence, just based on how he looks like and the fact that he's on the Navajo reservation. So the reasoning would be taking that a step further and saying, although Emerson doesn't look Navajo. He does live on the reservation. Now, anyone could live on the reservation. We can have different races and different ethnicities. But in our case, that could be one of our supporting statements. And what further makes me think he's Navajo is that he ran for Navajo Nation president. And the official documents to run for the Navajo Nation, you have to have a CIB, a Certificate of Indian Blood. Emerson couldn't run for Navajo Nation president if he didn't have a CIB. Therefore, he must be Navajo, which is Native American. Okay, all fun and jokes aside, maybe you're a very serious person and you say, well, Bigfoot does not exist at all. So let's examine this claim here. Let's see how we could support this. The evidence could be no body or no live specimen has ever been found of a Bigfoot. So what are we to think? If we don't have a body, we don't have anything to examine other than footprints, and some of those footprints have been found to be false. Some of them have been produced, and fake photos and camera footage are all inconclusive and non-scientific. Also, from a very scientific perspective, there are not many untouched areas or forests or habitats in the United States which can support a giant animal like Bigfoot. And just to have that discussion on the type of evidence, there's qualitative, quantitative data that you can use to support your claim. There are different types of data. Quantitative is about numbers, qualitative is categorical, relies on the 5 senses. Anything with height, age, height, age, weight, distance, temperature, those are all numerical. Things that are more qualitative could be the eye color, the gender of Bigfoot, maybe how happy is Bigfoot. So there are different types of data. And it all depends on the experiment, the design of your process, which will determine the kind of data that you'll collect. All right, getting down to the reasoning. This is taking your evidence and connecting it to your claim. Here are some statements for reasoning. I don't think that Bigfoot exists simply because scientists have not found a single body of a live specimen of a Bigfoot. Without a body, it is impossible to study or believe that such a big creature really does exist. Another reason is scientists have not found any significant evidence other than a few old video clips, photos, some of which have been questionable, fake. Lastly, there are not too many environments in the United States which can support wild creatures like Bigfoot. Many of the sightings that have been reported on the reservation are in complete desert areas, arid lands, Navajo Nation. And what we know from the history of the earth is that one of the largest apes that ever existed lived about 2 million years ago to 300,000 years ago. And Gigantopithecus lived in subtropical and tropical rainforests. Simply put, the Navajo Nation is not a good environment to support such a big ape. As scientists, I would place Bigfoot in the same category as Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Loch Ness Monster. Anyway, so this has been just a quick overview of what claim, evidence, reasoning is, and I hope you found some humor in it. And I made it more to my area, which is predominantly Navajo. And just know that it's done in humor, but also just going through the steps. And hopefully this will help you in your journey of being a good scientist and student of scientists. And So without further ado, we'll see you later. Take care.